My name is Jeff Harold with the Lake County Art League, and I'm here to have a conversation with artist Adam Clague. And Adam, it's nice of you to join us. And would
Thank you so
you
much
like
for having
to
me, Jeff.
start off with telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this art business or art world?
hmm Sure, yeah. As a kid, I was always very much interested in art, and I always doodled and enjoyed cartooning and doing comic style art. And when I was about 12, was my first attempt to do something that was more realistic. And I had seen what was possible mainly through like Artist Magazine and stuff that I think someone had given me a subscription to. And so I tried that out, and I tried colored pencil, and that was really cool. And then it wasn't until later when I was in high school that I went to art camp and was exposed to a lot more stuff that you can do. But I always wanted to be an artist, and then I ended up attending college at Pensacola Christian College, which is where that art camp was. It kind of whetted my appetite for their program, and I realized that they were a place where they were going to teach me the fundamentals of art, and so that's what I ended up doing.
Okay. And that, if I remember correctly, from our first attempt at doing this interview, is that is also your wife went to the same college at the same time
That's
with you,
right. That's
and
right. Yeah.
you both mastered or majored in what was it, art
Mhm.
in general,
Yeah,
or
we were doing a commercial art undergrad bachelor's degree, and then we both stayed for our masters of fine art. So, but that's where we met, and we went through the program together. We both got there at the same time, graduated at the same time as well.
good. Yeah, and there's a an interesting story. We'll show some pictures and talk about a little bit more.
Okay.
How you and your wife, uh, when you got married, you had done a picture, and she then helped complete it. I'll let you go through that story. We'll go to your website and we'll show everyone the pictures from that experience because that is actually a wonderful story. I love it. I love hearing about the way that artists meet their wives, especially when they're both artists. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
uh, yeah. So okay. What did you do after college then, as far as art? How do you get into
Well,
what you're doing now?
yeah, I graduated in '06 with the undergrad, and then '09 with my master's. Moved back home and lived at home, back at home, and I was working as an artist, but not making very much money to speak of. But and then it was 2012 that Andrew and I were married, and we moved here to Kansas City. I inherited or was gifted the house that my mother grew up in, so that's how we came to be here in Kansas City. But I've been a full-time painter ever since then.
Yeah. Well, and actually, I think, if I remember correctly, Andrea is also an excellent painter. We'll see some of her work later when we look at the website. She, however, is sort of taking some time off from a lot of painting, take care of your two lovely kids.
Right. She's
So,
a full-time mom and has been for the past 7 years, since we
uh,
had our first child, and now we have a 3-year-old as well.
what's her plan to getting back into the art world?
I don't know. Hopefully, when the kids are old enough that they're not so needy of their mother, then maybe she'll be able to break away and do some painting. I'm not sure. I hope that day comes soon for her,
Okay, yeah.
because she's an amazing mother as well.
It may not come soon enough for her, depending on how well the kids are doing. You gotta watch. Pretty soon they're gonna be teenagers, and then you got, oh boy. All right. Uh,
Right, right. Yeah, no, looking forward to that.
all right, but then now you were pretty much strictly in oil painting, as far as I think what you said before, uh,
I do,
and
yeah.
and you just have tried some other things in college. I think you said, but oil was your favorite. Was there a
Yeah,
reason? Did you feel that you could do better work in oil, or is it just you like the way oil worked? As far as a paint.
Um, yeah, that's a really good question actually. The In college they really exposed us to all different kinds of media and different techniques to kind of whet our appetites for whatever might interest us the most. So for me, it was oil, and I wonder if it was just the realism that you could get with oil. You know, prior to college, my main attempt to capture something realistic was with colored pencils. And so, that gives you more of a grainy texture. And so with the paint, it was like, oh, now I can put down a solid swatch of color, and I think maybe that's why it appealed to me the most. And then
Yeah,
maybe also looking at masterpieces done by the masters in oil, so I saw what was possible. I think maybe a combination of those types of things.
yeah, yeah. So the color pencil didn't catch your imagination or desires or whatever.
Well, I loved it. That was my main media back in
Uh,
my teenage years.
yeah,
But then and in fact I had tried paint and it was just too messy. I didn't like it. I liked the control that I could have with the colored pencils. So it wasn't until later when I was re-exposed to oil paints that I really fell in love with them.
yeah, yeah. I know we have a one of our members, Phil Shorn, is a nationally known color pencil artist, and
Oh, wow.
he does color pencil, he does classes and what have you. But he's got
Mm-hmm.
some national reputations and been in shows and what have you. Magazine, well,
Mm-hmm.
Color Pencil magazine. He's featured in that a lot. So uh,
Cool.
that would have been, I dabbled at one point in, like, I was trying to like watercolor and I tried just once in a little bit of paint, but uh,
Mm.
I didn't have the patience for it, and yeah, I didn't like the mess, so I stuck with
Yeah.
my photography, and now I do more digital art, what have you. So, but
Yeah. Cool.
yeah. So, anyways, you also your work is very to me very impressionistic as far as your style, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that you like that movement, the impressionist movement, because that's
Yeah.
also one of
Yeah.
my favorite movements. Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I love some of the stuff that they did, uh, and I'm sorry, I just thinking of this one story. I like to try to do different things with my photography and also digitally enhancing it, and what have you. But it just reminded me of uh, Van Gogh. Starry Night, one of the most famous pictures in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is the only picture like that he ever did. And the only reason he
Mm-hmm.
did it is his friend Gauguin had harassed him into doing something different. And he didn't want to do it, and he didn't like what he came up with, and it still turned out to be one of the most famous pictures ever done. So
Wow, I
so
didn't know that, but
it's like
wow.
you gotta try different things. Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
did colored pencils, that was great. You were doing it, and then finally you
Mm-hmm.
settled on oil, and that's fine, and a style.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I always tell my students, try something different. You know. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, but like I say, your style is very much impressionistic. I also like, and we'll look at some of your stuff in a few minutes. But I also like the brushwork you do on some of the stuff that is so. It's the brushwork is obvious, and that's not a bad thing. It's something that a lot of people, including myself, enjoy seeing the actual brushwork. It's sort of like seeing the work of the painter's mind working, and how he decides where
Mm-hmm.
the brush strokes go and everything. And you have some real nice ones to look at. As a matter of fact,
Thank you.
why don't we look at let me bring one of these up now. Adam sent me five of his pictures or six of his pictures. I forget what it is. Uh, and you've already seen three of them. But the other ones he sent me were uh, based on actually hang on here. Let me get to one here. Let's get this one. Okay. This is one of the pictures that you saw in the opening credits, and this is one that he did, and I just love seeing the brush strokes in it. Okay, to me, it gives it a beautiful texture. It's more interesting than just a photorealism. If I want, if I want something photorealistic, I'll take my camera and I'll photograph it. All right, because you can't
Yeah,
get much
yeah.
more photorealistic than actual photograph. Uh, this, though, is giving you more of a feel for it that someone has actually done something, has touched this. So that's one of my things here. And he he and I talked about this before in a previous episode here. uh, that he had one set up, and then he recognized that he liked the orange, and he did another picture, actually two pictures. I'll show you the next one. He may have done more, I don't know. But again, this one, if you look at his brush strokes, okay, they're there, and they're not being hidden. He's not trying to make this photorealistic. It's just it adds texture to it, and to me, some movement to it, as well as just some interest. So
Thank you. Yeah, this one here was the first one I did, and then the one prior was the one I did second. But
oh
I used the exact same orange for both of them. It doesn't always work out that way because I'm not a fast painter, so often by the time I finish my fruit paintings, the fruit is usually moldy by that point. But for this
yeah,
one, it could work.
yeah. Well, if you look at it, look at the peel, the orange peel on this guy, and then look at it on here. It's you can tell
Yeah,
it's the same orange did at
yeah.
the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Which was really interesting. And then he had, now this is not the same orange, I don't think. Like you said, it would be very moldy if it was. But you actually see, and you see the strands, the brush strokes sort of give you the feel of the strands of an orange. People who've peeled an orange realize that there's a lot of stuff you have to pick off. Like down in the
Yeah.
bottom left-hand corner of the slice that's sitting there, you can see where he's drawn in, and even on the orange, the larger orange piece, you can see it, and that's an orange. But the brush strokes are what I find very fascinating in the way you did this one.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I like showing the variety of texture, with the flesh that's smoother, and then the pith is usually really coarse, and
Yeah,
I like to try to show that in the painting.
yeah. Okay. Well, let's see what else we got here. I got my microphone. Don't want to look at that. Okay, and I'm going to. Okay, we're going to go to your website now.
Okay.
All right, and we're going to look at some pictures there as soon as I can get this working here. All right, and there we go. And one more click and we're ready to go here.
Hmm.
Okay, so anyways, this is the website, and you can find it. It's just claguefineart.com. The on the other screen under his name, you can saw the website there. Also in the end credits, you'll see the website again, so you can always go to this and check it out. And who knows, maybe buy one of his paintings. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Now,
I have prints of that one right there that you were just showing.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't even realize that. That didn't hit me. But yeah, you have prints
Hmm.
out there too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Now, the other thing too is I think we mentioned this before. Andrea is actually an excellent artist. Also, you both like the same sort of style, impressionist style. Andrea is not painting right now because she's being a mom and raising three kids, three lovely kids. And
Well, only two
while
so
we're
far.
yeah, while we're talking about that, let's listen to the story about the Come on. Come on.
Sure.
There we go. This I find this interesting is how people meet and what have you. But you had, as you explained to me, and I'll let you finish the explanation. You had started a painting that she did not know about or she did not see, and it was the
Mhm.
start of painting of things that were significant to the two of you. All right, and then
That's right.
I'll
Yeah.
let you finish the story because it's your
Okay,
story.
sure. Yes. So we had known each other for, several years while we were at college and had become very good friends, but never dated during that time. So it wasn't until I think a year and a half after we graduated that we actually started dating. And so we lived relatively close to each other. She lived in Akron, Ohio. I lived in Detroit, and so we could see each other, and sometimes would visit each other. And I created the painting that you're looking at right there behind us. But when I presented it to her, it was only half completed. So the left hand side was painted, and the right hand side was a blank canvas. And the part that I had painted had different items that represented different mementos and memories from different stages of our relationship up to that point. So while we were just friends, we there were some things that symbolized that and so forth. And so when I presented this painting to her, I asked her if she would complete the other half of the painting and if she would also complete me by being my wife. And she said yes.
Yeah.
And so what you're seeing in that picture right now is Andrea and me signing our painting during our wedding ceremony. So kind of the same thing there as when some people light a unity candle, for instance.
That is wonderful. And here is the actual painting down here.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that is that I that's probably one of the more unique stories I've heard about artists getting married and especially artists and artists, getting together and what have you. So
Yep.
and then there's a picture of you and the two kids
There they
and
are.
your
Yep.
wife.
It's
Yeah,
yep. And that photo, I need to update it because Jaron is 3 years old now. He looks a lot different. Gideon is 7.
yeah. Huh. All right, very very good. But that's like I say, I just find that as a fascinating story here.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
okay, and we're going back to paintings. And these are yours, and we can see them.
Uh-huh.
And let's go down. And right now, these are your still lifes, which is what you're working on now, right?
Hmm.
You were telling me
Yeah.
about that. You started still lifes uh, instead
Yeah.
of instead of just you used to do portraits. You don't do those that much anymore, or people.
Right, right. When I was in college, particularly when I was getting my master's, my focus was primarily on portraiture because I thought I was going to be a commissioned portrait artist. And so I did that for a while and then got to a point where I realized that I would much rather paint more candid images of people doing things. So then I was doing more figurative art that you would see in a gallery. And then after that, kind of my next phase in my career was, well, I guess after that, I was painting a lot of different things. And then in the past 2 or 3 years, my focus has been still life, namely these citrus fruits that are backlit. And they've become really my bread and butter the past few years.
Yeah, these we were talking about this a little bit before, how these the backlighting is just really well done. Let's see. Uh, I'm sorry, I'm losing track of my little uh, cursor here. Where was the one we were talking about before? Well, let's look at this one. But this is definitely a very good example of what you're talking about. You can see the
Mhm.
light shining through the orange slices there, and that just it adds a brightness to the picture.
Yeah, yeah, that one is particularly radiant. It turned out very, very reddish. it's a cara orange, so the local color of the flesh is starting out really red anyway, and then by the time you backlight it, it'll really glow.
Yeah,
I think that's a I think I used sunlight on that one. Or no, it was artificial light, but it was like a warm light.
yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. And unfortunately, like I talked earlier with you about this, is I the way I have to do the websites here, it makes it hard for me to just bounce back. It's not an arrow, so I got to
Sure,
sort of navigate back to where we were. Uh,
sure.
so, anyways, the still lifes now. Okay, let's do. What do you say we go to the portraits and figures, which is what you're
Okay.
doing, what you say you're doing now. These are the things, or you were doing rather.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was doing more portraits and figures earlier. Yeah.
yeah, and these are the sort of things we talked about this before. Is these are sort of things that I personally like when it's more of an unfinished picture, and you got a couple of them on here like the Bruce study or Victor study. They're
Hmm.
more like sketches, I think, and I think you used that
Hmm.
word one time. They're more like sketches the way you did them, and that's what
Yeah.
I really enjoy. And then you have some that are just uh, normal portraits. Glenn and John. I think you said that was a
Hmm.
commissioned work. So
Right. Yeah, that double portrait is a commissioned one, so I took it to a lot higher level of finish than if I am just doing a portrait sketch
yeah,
where the sitter's there for a few hours, and then I might bring it back to the studio and put some more time into it. But the uh, the goal is to make it feel more spontaneous or immediate. So it's a different approach.
yeah, and that's like I say, that's the sort of thing I like doing. I'll take pictures like that, and I've done it with especially a
Hmm.
couple of artists where I will take the picture, but then I'll get rid of. Uh, Actually, if you don't mind, I'll show you what I'm talking about. That's all right.
Sure. Hmm.
Yeah, this is what I did, and this is what I sort of
Oh,
like, and that's
cool.
the sort of thing I'm doing, which is trying to imitate what you're doing with the paints when you do what I call an unfinished sketch. All right.
Yeah, interesting. Cool.
So, and that's digital. By the way, those are two very excellent artists, Tom Trausch, who is another nationally known artist, and Pat King, who is absolutely fantastic watercolor artist.
Hmm.
Who's also well known nationally. So anyway, uh, hang on, I gotta get back here to where we were. Okay, all right. So anyways, that's the sort of thing I do, and I got that idea for that style from paintings like you're doing. All right,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
is I see more from the uh, whoops, didn't mean to do that. I see a lot of that stuff in some of the impressionist work, from the late 1800s, early 1900s, and the way they use sketches like etchings and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I like that. I don't need the super realism of a work. I like
Yeah.
the unfinished
Yeah.
or the sketching of it.
Hmm.
So, and that's just
Yeah,
my own taste.
yeah. I became real attracted to that in college. The teachers introduced us to Richard Schmid, and he does a lot of those vignetted style paintings, that you can do particularly when you're painting from life and you have a limited time period to work in. Then one solution is to kind of vignette that background, and it gives a
Yeah,
lot of opportunity for some loose brushwork as well.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I like that, and sometimes I'll do that. Other times I might finish it all the way to the edge of the canvas. So it just kind of depends on what my goal is for a particular piece.
Yeah. So you said that you're now doing still lifes more than you are portraits. or
Hmm.
people. But what about landscapes?
I have not pursued landscape very much in my career. Back before we had kids, Andrew and I went on several plein air trips, and yeah, right there I did a plein air competition, and actually those are showing uh, plein airs that I did over a long period of time in a lot of different places. So, but they're much more rare for me.
Yeah. So you don't do any of the plein air events or anything like that nowadays?
I don't know. There was a time when, like I said, before we had kids, where Andrew and I were doing. They were mostly local events, local plein air events, but we were trying to do all those around here in Kansas City, and it was fun. It was great, but just not something I've gotten back into.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Go back to, but the still lifes is what you are concentrating on now.
Right. Yeah. That's my main focus in the past 3 years. But um, you know, regardless of what it is I'm painting, my general goals are pretty much the same. You know, you've commented about the style, the loose style, and so I do very much connect with an impressionistic style, but I'm also trying to capture something truthfully and faithfully. So painting the subject from life is always really important to me. Whether it's a person, I like to have them sitting there, or if it's a landscape, I like to get out in the open air and do that, or have the still life sitting right in front of me so I can capture it from life. And I just really feel that that's the best way to capture something that looks realistic. You know, that you
Yes.
can just reach in and hopefully grab that fruit and take a bite out of it. You know, that's what I'm trying to shoot for.
Yeah, well, I think you got a good handle on that because a lot of the stuff I
Thank
see
you.
is very nicely done. Some of the, but you also vary your style, and some of the stuff does not look as impressionistic as some of the other stuff does.
Hmm.
It looks a little bit more of a conventional. Conventional. I don't know if that's the right word or not. The daffodil in this one and the banana study. Uh, I don't know that I see your strokes, your
Okay.
brush strokes as much in these, and that's one of the things that really caught my attention when I started looking at your work, is the actual
Hmm.
brush strokes. They're actually very visible, and I've noticed that in if I was seeing the actual picture in real life, not as a photograph or on the website like this, uh, that texture that they adds to it with the brush strokes and the using a little bit thicker paint, parts, whatever you do to it. That's what sort of I find interesting. It
Hmm.
adds,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's sort of like in photography. The rule of thumb is if you want to bring out the texture in something, you have the light coming across it. You don't have it coming straight on it because the light coming straight on it
Yeah.
just flattens everything. And so, like, you're
Yeah.
picturing
Exactly.
an old barn with the wood. If you look straight on it, it looks pretty smooth. If you have the light coming across it, it creates that contrast in the details in the wood, and you see the texture in
Hmm.
it. You know.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That'll be the area with the most texture for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have a special certain types of brushes that you like to use most of the time? And what about also you have a favorite type of paint or something that uh, other people might be interested in?
Yeah, sure. Well, the brand of brushes that I use is Rosemary and Company. Those are I use those almost exclusively, but not to say that I don't have other ones too that I use. I certainly do. And then as far as the paint goes, it's mostly Rembrandt and Gamblin colors.
Yeah.
And I do want to say that there's lots of brands out there that are great, and those are just kind of the ones that I've landed on that work for me. So it's not to say that there aren't others that are great as well. But those are the ones I used, and then kind of like what I mentioned when we were talking earlier, I the thing I really shoot for is variety. So not just one type of brush, but sometimes I'll use a coarser bristle brush. Sometimes I use a softer, like sable brush.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll apply the paint with a palette knife, just whatever I can do to have a lot of variety between thick and thin and stroking this way and that way. I feel gives more interest to the painting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Well, also variety in subject too.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing I do. I mean, I tell my classes, you want to get out and you pick a theme, like
Mm-hmm.
a landscape or flowers or birds or whatever, and just do a
Mm-hmm.
portfolio of like 10 really good pictures, and then look and see if there's something else you want. You can keep shooting them, but basically concentrate on something else, you know. And again,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
adding to variety. I add variety by the way that I edit the pictures. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you saw the portrait there of Tom Troush and Pat King. I'll do stuff like that with portraits. I do some straight portraits. I did a portrait of him when he was at one of our demos, doing a demo for us, and he liked it so much he's got it on his website. So I was happy with
Mm.
that.
Cool. Nice.
A lot of respect for him and his work and his abilities. So.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, okay, portraits and figures. Again, these are really fascinating, and quite frankly, again, I like the more of the unfinished ones. Did we go through these already? I don't think we looked at all these.
The first page, yeah.
Yeah, let's just catch a couple more of these things here. Again, the Logan study, resurfacing. Those are the types that I find more interesting than just straight photographs. Now,
Yeah.
you've also got the other thing that I wanted to talk about real quick here that's right. We skipped by your self-portrait the last time we did this, so that must have been fun to do.
It was challenging too because I did it completely from life and
Yeah.
looking down in a mirror. So every time that I would look down at myself, then I'd have to like remember what I saw and then move my head to look up at my canvas and do it, and then look back and get my head just right. It was really challenging.
That's that's where I think we were talking about before. I used to watch the series Portrait Artists of the Years, which is a British uh, series,
Yeah.
and they grab like 12 different artists from around their country, all of them a little bit different styles. I mean, you have all sorts of styles,
Hmm.
and they have four famous people. So each each subject had three artists painting them. Okay, and all the
Hmm.
three artists all had a little bit different style, and it's really fascinating to see them and see the different styles. They also have a landscape artists of the year
Mm.
series, all right, which again is the same thing. It's amazing how many different styles that people have that they can use. Just really, really fun. I don't know if it's out there anymore. It's just like it's on a British, excuse me, British channel. It's BritBox
Hmm.
is what it is. A stream. Excuse me,
Yeah.
screaming,
Yeah. I think I may have
streaming.
heard of it, but I haven't. So.
Yeah, yeah. It was on Netflix for a while, the whole series, but it's gone from there now. So I don't know if it's back
Oh,
or
okay.
not. All right, Ken. Oh, okay. The other thing I wanted to do is we'll take a real quick look because Andrea's got some stuff out here too. And
Yeah.
again, your
Yeah.
styles are pretty much the same. They really match up. Is that something that is a result of
Hmm.
the schools? Uh, you doing your masters, together, or is that just
Hmm.
something she just developed on her own?
Yeah, I think that's got to be it. The same influences, and we kind of have a lot of the same artists that we really love. So I think
Yeah.
I think that was just natural. Right here, you're getting into some gouache work. of Andrea's, and
Yeah.
that's something if she does have time that she really enjoys doing is these little studies in gouache. So that's
Huh.
something different. I've hardly done any gouache at all, and she likes to pick a lot of things that you'd find around the house, and she captures their beauty.
Yeah, that was the other thing I noticed. There was sort of a difference between the two of you. Uh, and it's a minor, and it's not that drastic. But if you look at her subjects, they seem to be
Mm-hmm.
more the type of subjects the Impressionists were painting. All right,
Mm, mm,
and
mm.
yours are too. It's just some of hers, like for example, the page you got here, the stovetop study, Adam's
Okay.
brushes study. I mean, I'm sorry, you look at that, and the first thing I think about is who painted the yellow chair. Uh, can't think of the artist, but
Mm, I
uh,
don't know. Sorry.
just it wasn't Monet. Gauguin.
Did
Oh,
you
it
say
was
the
Van Gogh.
yellow chair?
It was Van Gogh. Yeah, it's just a little
Oh, okay.
bedroom. All it is a chair. I think the chair is yellow. I think it was called the yellow chair.
Oh,
But I can sort of
okay.
picture the whole thing, and that's
Mm,
that's what I think of when I see something like Adam's brushes study.
I gotcha. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so it's just and like I say, it's not like you don't also paint some of the same subjects as the Impressionists did. It just they seems like hers was a little bit more that way.
Yeah, that could be. I don't know.
So
Could be.
I don't know, but she does excellent work. Yeah, I wouldn't mind
Yeah,
seeing her when she gets back
she
into it.
also what's that?
I said I wouldn't mind seeing some of her work when she gets back into it, back into painting.
Yes. Yes. Well, hopefully that's on the horizon. Right
Yeah,
now, our 3-year-old is very attached, and so it's hard for her to break away and do something like that. But I'm
yeah,
hoping as the kids get a little bit older, she'll be able to get back to it. But yeah, she enjoys a lot of the same dramatic lighting that I like as well. So you're seeing some of the backlighting and bright sunlight and stuff, and some of those that you've got there.
okay. All right, instruction. Free
Yes.
instruction, online courses, in-person workshops.
Hmm.
So how's the free instruction work? Here we go. Free art lessons.
Yeah, it's that's my blog. So I link to my blog where I have I think it's over 30 instructional blog posts that I put together in preparation for my online portrait course that I published back in 2019. So
Yeah.
which is still it's still around. And yeah, but lots of free content there for people to enjoy if they're interested on a range of topics. And then those are different interviews and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'll put a link to this interview there as well.
Oh, wow. I'm honored.
Oh, no, the honor's mine.
I don't I don't do this. Like I say, I do these about 3 times a year. But
Okay,
yeah, if you want to check out some of the other videos, some of the other interviews I've done, or anyone wants to check them out, all you got to do is search for either Jeff Harold or Lake County Art League on YouTube. All right, and you'll find our videos out there. We probably got about 30 of them out there between the
okay,
artists and the demos. So we
cool.
usually do the interview, and then we do the demo, and we do that's usually a Zoom recording, and then we'll put that out there with the artist. So okay, all right. Online courses. Whoops. Hang on here. Online courses. How do these work?
Yeah, the one that you're looking at right there is like my main course that I created over the course of 4 years, but I published it. I think it was 2018 or 2019. I forget which. And it's learn to paint dynamic portraits and figures in oil. And basically, my goal, I had been teaching in-person workshops for a long time, And when I do those, I can only take a maximum of 14, 15 people. So the
Yeah.
idea was to put a workshop online and make that information available to a lot more people. And I ended up sharing, it ended up becoming a comprehensive guide of virtually everything I know about the fundamentals and composition. So that's what that is. And then the other two that you're seeing there are much shorter, smaller courses involving dramatic light and outdoor light.
Yeah. Yeah. Outdoor light is always interesting because it changes constantly.
Yes, yes. It's
Yeah.
always a challenge.
You learn that as a photographer.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's the one thing. If I'm shooting landscapes or something like that, you know, or people outside or animals, what have you, uh, you really need to pay attention to the lighting, and if you
Yeah.
can, you get them at the sweet hours, just after sunrise and just before sunset. Those are supposed
hmm
to be the sweet hours that you want to shoot everything in that time frame, if you can, because the light's best. I mean,
hmm
I did for my class, I showed them two pictures I took. We have gardens out here, and there was this lilies that my wife grows, and I took a picture of the shot of this lily in the morning, okay, in the morning light, and the same shot of that same lily in the afternoon, and just to show the
Yeah.
people the difference in the lighting, because then I did not do anything to the pictures. I just took the straight shot and just showed them what the difference in the lighting is.
Yeah, it'll be completely different.
Okay, and then you do where do we go here? Okay, then in-person workshops. Do you have anything planned for this year already, or
Well, no, not as far as in-person workshops. Not yet anyway. So it's mainly online that I'm teaching now. So
okay?
incidentally, I should have mentioned I do have a discount on that portrait course,
Ah,
if people want to check it out too. But
okay,
stay tuned. If anyone wants to sign up for my newsletter, then you'll get announcements if I do a in-person workshop this year, then I'll make sure I announce that to my email list.
okay,
But those
all
are
right.
becoming more rare, and I'm teaching more online now.
Yeah, it is so much easier. I was talking about Phil Shorn, who's a colored pencil artist, and he
hmm
teaches a lot of stuff online. He does that. It's so much easier. He does in person. He's going to do a workshop for the league too, but
hmm
he does a lot of his stuff online. I used to teach Photoshop, and I did that online. That was like during the pandemic, and I did it on Zoom, and it worked out great. I mean, that was one of the best things,
hmm
easiest things to teach online than anything else, really, as far as I'm concerned. So,
Yeah, yeah,
okay. Uh, Not too bad for our second attempt here.
yeah. Right.
I gotta confess, people. I made a couple references to this was not our first attempt. It's because our first attempt I forgot to press the record button. So Adam was nice enough. He just laughed about it with me, and so we did this one. So all right.
Nope,
Anything
nope.
anything you want to add before we say goodbye here?
Oh boy. I don't think I have anything that comes to mind really. But I think to give, well, maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but we talked about the possibility of doing portrait for my demonstration later.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there's a little
That
teaser for.
Yeah. Actually, the one on your teaching, your instruction site, I really
Mhm.
loved that portrait
Mm.
that you were doing on there. If you could do something like that for us for our demo next week or 2 weeks from not this coming Monday, the one Monday after that, that would be fantastic.
Sure,
And I think
sure.
people would be interested in knowing, uh, if you have any pointers for them as far as, type of brushes you use or any techniques you use for it,
hmm
anything like that that would help them with their own work, I think that'd be great.
Okay, okay.
So if
Yeah.
that's good with you, then that's what we'll set up.
All right,
And
sounds
we
good.
will record that through Zoom. That'll be a Zoom meeting. We will
Okay.
record that and we'll put it out on YouTube. Everyone can go out and look at this interview again or this conversation on YouTube. It'll be out there probably next week. We still have some posts to do, and I want to give Adam final critique of it. So he's got the final say. So I got to be nice to him here. But anyways, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun talking to you. One of these times, I wouldn't mind seeing what Andrea has to say about some of this stuff too. So
Oh
that's
yeah, yeah,
that's why I
absolutely.
was sort
Yeah.
of I had asked Adam before, can we get Andrea in here? He says, no, she's busy with the kids. So, however, I think that was an excuse. You didn't want to hear what she had to say, right? Okay.
No, yeah, she could give a lot of interesting commentary for sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting her to do it is going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
But
Oh well.
yeah,
Yeah. Future date.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, and we'll be talking to you. I'll be sending you a Zoom link in about a week or so uh, for the demo.
Okay.
And
All right.
until then, have a nice time and enjoy your kids and wife. Having family around is always fantastic.
Yeah.
So especially this time of year.
Yes.
So that's it. Thanks a lot.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Jeff, for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
All right, and we'll show the credits now.